Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. In this episode we are going to create an animated tab component. It's going to be an intense tutorial, I'm not gonna lie. We are going to use React Native Reanimated, layout animations, entering and exiting animations, Lucide icons to display some icons which are SVG based icons, Moti for state-driven animations, in more particular the background color change, and I'm gonna show you a small trick how to use Moti to enable animations on SVG components. And last, the small bonus, we are going to use LayoutAnimationConfig, which is something that Reanimated exposed that is going to fix some layout issues that you may have encountered in the past and you don't know how to actually fix. So without further ado, let's jump straight into VS Code and start building this animated tab component. Shall we? Alrighty guys, so we are in VS Code here. I've created a project using Expo, and let's start by installing our required dependencies for this specific tutorial. And I'll go here to the terminal and I'll type expo install. I'll need React Native Reanimated, Moti, Lucide, React Native, and React Native SVG. The reason for installing React Native SVG is because Lucide depends on this package. Hit enter, install the packages, and now we can actually close the terminal. Let's start by creating the tabs component. Create a new file, function, tabs, go back to the application and render tabs. This tabs is going to receive a particular set of data. So props, it's equal to tabs props. Tabs props is going to be data, tab item, and as an array. So it's a collection of tab items type. Tab item is going to be an icon, string, and a label, the string. And I know for a fact that we are going to use Lucide icons, and Lucide comes with TypeScript out of the box, and we can create instead of a string, we can actually get a list of all the possible icons that we can actually use. So first I would like to import icons from Lucide React Native. Type icon names is equal to key of type of icons. So in this way, this icon names is going to be this huge list of possible icons that we can actually render from Lucide. And instead of a string, we can copy this icon to be an icon name. And now we have tab props, data is going to be like icon as a Lucide icon and label. And I know that I also need to selected index as a number and on change as an index, right? So basically whenever you are going to press on that button, it's going to call this on change, set the state as a selected index and pass down the selected index. So the state management is going to be managed from the parent. Great, and let's add some 4 different other properties like the active color, inactive color, active background color, and inactive background color. So you can style colors and the background colors. So I'll say here active color, it's a string, inactive color, active background color, inactive background color, it's a string. So let's grab those. I'll say data for now, selected index, and on change. For now, we are going to take care of the colors later. So I'll say, here inside the view, I'll iterate over the data. I'll get the item and the index, return a view, and inside this view, I'll have text and an icon, where I'm gonna pass the name of the icon as item.icon. Okay, hit save. This is going to complain because data doesn't exist yet. So data is going to be a collection of icon and label. I have prepared already a collection with icon and label that we are going to use during this tutorial. And since we are here as a prop, let's add the on change, set selected index with index, and selected index is selected index, create this state, React use state, right? Hit save. Now the component is throwing an error because icon doesn't exist. So let's create this icon. Icon is going to receive a name as an icon prop. Type icon prop is going to be name, icon name that we have just created, and we are going to get the icon component and render it. The reason why we are using such mechanism is because we don't pass directly the component, but rather we have a string based on which we are getting the component and render it. So now hit save and refresh the page, and we should have label and icon, label icon. Let me also change the order, hit save. Okay, this is looking quite nice. We can also change the size, for example, to be, let's say 16, right? So we have a reusable icon component where you can pass a name as a property. Style a bit those tabs. So I know for a fact that we are going to have this on press, right? So on press is going to be the wrapper of the icon and the text. So let's do that now. So pressable, on press change the index, render the icon and close the pressable. Now whenever I'm pressing on this button, it's going to call the callback, set the selected index and then receive it as a prop. And on top of that, let's style a bit the button itself. So I'll say style, I'll give it a padding of spacing. So let's create the spacing here, const spacing, it's equal to 4. I'll give it a justify items to the center, align items to the center, a gap between those elements. Okay, this is looking good. And flex direction of row. And yeah, I think this is looking quite good. And the background color, you know, I will say if I'll create here a constant is selected. If selected index is the actual index of this item, make it selected. So let's use this is selected. If it's selected, I'll get the active background color, otherwise inactive. So let's get those. I have already some predefined colors that we are going to use. We can also go to this root level node and say, you know, I would like to position them on the row, one after the other, and also specify a little gap, so spacing. Okay, this is looking quite good. Now let's start styling the text. So I'll say here style, it's going to be color. If it's selected, it's active color, otherwise it's inactive color. So whenever you make this active, yeah, it's going to change the color. And I would like to only show the text for the selected tab. So I'll say here an if statement, only render this text when is selected. So yeah, we have this small change here. Also, let's change the padding a bit to have some breathing room around the elements. Now let's start with the animations. The first animation is the text animation. So here inside the text, we can leverage React Native Reanimated entering and exiting, basically animating the mounting and unmounting of the component. The only thing that we need to specify here is first make this an animated component. So import animated from React Native Reanimated and specify an entering, which is going to be fade in right with a springify, damping of 80 and the stiffness of 200. Hit save, and now you'll see whenever this text is going to be selected or this tab is going to be selected, we animate the number. Look, right? And do the same for the exiting. So I'll say exiting is going to be fade out right with a springify and the damping and the stiffness. Okay, great. All right, so we basically have finished with the text animation. Now let's move on, and you'll see that whenever I'm pressing on a tab, yeah, everything just moves suddenly, right? And then the animation is going to start. So what I would like to do is to apply a layout animation. So this transition or this layout is going to animate it. So to do so, for each individual tab, let's transform this view to be an animated view, and the only thing that we need to do is to send the layout prop as a linear transition, again a springify, damping 80, stiffness 200. Hit save, and now look what's going to happen when I'm pressing on a button. So you see the room that the new selected tab has is going to animate. Now, because we have the layout animation in place and we are animating the new layout, we can also animate the background, right? So you see that now it's an instant change. So in order to do so, instead of actually using an animated view, let's convert this to be a Moti view. Moti is really powerful, you know, it's powered by React Native Reanimated, which means that we can actually use any reanimated property on the views or on the elements or on the components But in addition to that, we actually have access to multiple things that Lottie provides. So let's import Moti view instead of an animated view. Use this here, hit save, and you'll see nothing is going to change because again, Moti is powered by Reanimated. But this time I would like to do like an animate, and I'll say, you know, the background color is going to be, if it's selected, is the background color. Otherwise, inactive background color. So now you see the background is going to be animated. So just like that, just by providing a different state to this component based on is selected, I'm just specifying a different value. Moti is going to do all the heavy lifting underneath using interpolate color from Reanimated, which is great. And now we can also move the border radius to this component and also specify an overflow hidden, just to act as a window, you know, everything it's inside this like box. So yeah, this is one small thing. And now let's take a look at the icon itself. So you see this icon is actually an SVG, and again we are going to use Moti to enable the animation on those SVGs. And to do so, we actually need to go to the icon, and where we are referencing the icon component, we can do, you know, this is, let's modify this SVG, and of course have access to all the Moti properties like animate, like transitions and everything, right? So now this icon has access to all the Moti functionality, and to ensure that we have access as a property, let's extend this icon prop and add here and Moti props. Okay, so now if we go to the component where we are using it and send the prop as an animate, we can actually animate whatever we would like to animate. In our case, is going to be the color of the SVG. So now we'll say color, if it's selected, again active color, otherwise inactive color. Hit save. We forgot to get the properties and apply them to this component, and you'll see like magic, this icon, even though it's an SVG, is going to animate. If you don't believe me, I'm gonna go to this animate, and I'll say here fill is going to be if it's selected or not. You see, we're actually animating. So yeah, Moti is quite powerful, especially for state-driven animations. You might say, oh yeah, okay, Catalin, but yeah, this is a really nice animation, but I would like to have a real life scenario here, you know? Okay, yeah, let's do it now. Let's go back to the application, okay? Create here like a constant. I'll say tabs, you know? I'll say it's a list of colors. And for each individual tab, whenever you are pressing on those buttons, I would like to animate like a container or any component underneath. So let's start by doing that. So I'll say here a view style, background color is going to be tabs by the selected index, and I'll give it a flex one just to make everything like really big, right? So now whenever you are changing, this tab is going to be, yeah, is going to change this container as well. Let's give it a border radius of 8 as well. And the funny part here is that we can actually use React Native Reanimated again to animate this view. So we can say, you know, this is an animated, and at the entering, it's a fade in right with springify, damping, stiffness. And the same for exiting, fade out right with springify, stiffness and damping. Now whenever I'm pressing on this tab, it's going to animate. Oh no, this is not doing it. You know why? Animations in React Native Reanimated, especially the entering and exiting, are based on a key, are key-based animations. So I need to provide a key that's actually changing. So I'm going to basically remove this particular element and add another one. So to do so, we actually can create a key that's changing over time based on the selected index. So I'll say here, you know, is tab, content, and then selected index. Just like magic, whenever I'm going to press on this button, it's going to animate. See? I can actually fade out to the left just to make it more visible. See? Look. And I'll show you a last quick tip. If I press reload, look what's going to happen. Oops. Well, the reason is because the layout calculation is async. Unfortunately, we are going to render everything and then animate, you know, and initially you don't know exactly how much of the space you can take using flex, and when first rendering it, it's going to take the entire space, but then oops, wait a second, because we have the tabs, you know, it's not going to take the entire space, but rather is like entire space minus the tabs height. So this is because of the async functionality of the onLayout, right? And to fix this for now, we can go back to the application where we are rendering this view, and we can say wrap this view into a LayoutAnimationConfig, which is a wrapper provided by React Native Reanimated, where you can specify, hey, you know, you should skip entering. So this entering animation is not going to happen initially when you mount the component. So now press save, reload, and watch what's going to happen. Ooh, we fixed it. But is this tab change is going to work? Well, let's see. Of course it's going to work. Because this skip entering, it's only happening when this layout configuration is first mounted. Then it's going to work as expected. So for this reason, when you'd like to just skip the entering only for the first time, please be mindful that there is a LayoutAnimationConfig that you can wrap any component with, and it's going to skip the entering, which is really powerful. And if you have the same eyes as I have, and take a look at this text here, you'll see that it has the same issue as this tab content. So let me refresh once again. Ooh, you see, it's like, now it's not great. So let's go back to the tabs, and this animated layout we can specify again. LayoutAnimationConfig. We can specify skip entering for this particular text. Now if I press save and refresh, you'll see the text is going to be right away displayed to us. And again, it's only when this layout config is going to be first mounted, then it's going to be there, and we are going to kick the entering animation. Alrighty guys, so that was a quite long tutorial, I believe. Quite intense, quite a lot of things have changed. It is like from an animated text with entering and exiting, from Moti and animating a background color, but then also add some layout animations, and also use motifySvg to animate SVGs. It's, yeah, I know it can be quite a lot to digest. If you have any issues, don't hesitate to leave a comment down below. I'll do my best to help you as much as possible. And don't forget to check out animate-react-native.com. It's the platform where I'm sharing all the animations that you have seen on my channel or any other animations. And of course, the source code for this particular animation is also available on animate-react-native.com. So if you are lazy like me and you just want to get the code and the source code, feel free to check animate-react-native.com. The link to this particular animation, it's linked down in the comments. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the ring bell notification to be notified whenever I'm posting something new. And stay tuned because there will be more. See you.